What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to IT Security Labs, and thank you very much for joining me tonight. I'm very sorry that we started a few minutes late, but today we have one of my machines. It's called Dealer 313. I'm very excited because this machine, when I was making it, it was mostly meant for those people who are going for the OSCP. And if your goal is to study for the OSCP, I meant to show you how to get a reverse shell, how to actually enumerate a system, and also, you know, how to actually enjoy the process of hacking a machine. So if your goal is to hack a machine and enjoy the process of ethical hacking, you're in the right place. So welcome. Thanks very much for joining me. And BT, it's good to see you, brother. It's always good to see you. And so without wasting a lot of time, this is a Windows machine. It's meant for those who are interested in learning ethical hacking, and it's supposed to show you step by step what you should do and how to look at things differently. So if you this is your first time ethical hacking and you're like, oh, how do I hack something? You're going to learn a few things tonight. So thanks for joining me. I'm going to right away get started because we're a little late here, so we might as well get started, right? First thing that you need to do is download the machine. I have it posted on our channel. And once you download this machine and import it in VirtualBox, you should get a DHCP IP address, and mine is on 86. The first thing you need to do is it responds to ping, so you need to ping the machine, make sure that it responds. If you're not familiar with, like VirtualBox and DHCP, you probably should spend some time there before we get started attacking the machine. But I do have a link on our channel, and everybody should be able to download that machine. And since the machine responds to ping, the first thing that I say you should do, let's make an assumption here. You show up to the OSCP exam. They give you an IP address. I expect you to know about Recon or at least AutoRecon, right? If you run AutoRecon against this IP address, AutoRecon is going to run all the scans that you need for the machine. It's going to do an Nmap TCP scan, it's going to do a UDP scan, it's going to do a Nikto, it's going to do everything that you need. So for those who are going for the OSCP, AutoRecon is your tool. You need to go back and install AutoRecon from GitHub, then run AutoRecon. If you are not going for the OSCP and you're just trying to learn, this is what I encourage you to do. Run Nmap minus SV minus SC, and then the IP address, then do an all port scan because this is going to help you. So when you run Nmap, Nmap is a tool that will scan the system and give you all the open ports. And again, I'm going to say, if this is your first time hearing the word port, maybe this is not a good video for you. But Nmap is going to do a scan for all open ports on the system. SV is going to scan for service versions. So it's going to give you versions. Like, for example, if it finds Apache like this one, it will give you 2.4.17, show you that, hey, Nmap 2.4.17 is open. Then SC here is going to scan using default ports, default scripts for most common ports. So I always do an Nmap SVSC, and then of course the IP address. And this option here is going to scan for all ports. And I already did it because this one takes a long time most of the time. And this is the same thing that will happen when you scan using AutoRecon. AutoRecon is going to do the same thing. But AutoRecon is an automated tool that will actually go there and do most of the work for you. So you will notice that if you look here, it's running enum for Linux here. It's going to run SMB share permissions on 139 because it found 139. This is why I really liked AutoRecon for the OSCP because it's really, really good. So I encourage you to do both if you can. All right, in addition to this, we are also trying to detect this attack with Security Onion. So let's see if our Security Onion is up. If you are unfamiliar with how to set up Security Onion, I already have videos. Actually, I have multiple videos that will show you how to set this lab up. But if you go to alerts, AutoRecon is supposed to really trigger a lot of alerts because it's using some really not smart scripts out there. So if we go to alerts, we should see a bunch of alerts show up if our Security Onion is working. All right, I'm going to let our Security Onion run because I just started it right before we started. If I go to the grid here, it shows me that it's still starting. This is not a problem because Security Onion takes about 5 to 10 minutes to start. I started the machine, attacking the machine before Security Onion started, so we might not catch this part of the scan, but we'll be able to catch the other ones later, and that's fine. All right, let's see. All right, so AutoRecon is running. I'm going to let it run so I can show those who are not familiar with it. But right away, you see that it will look for the robots.txt. It will run GoBuster for us, which is really good. And you should see a lot of noise. It's running Nikto on port 80 right now. Nikto is by far the loudest tool I've ever seen. I thought Nmap was loud. Nikto is very, very loud. So AutoRecon is going to generate a ton of alerts for us. I mean, I don't think that if you're going to be doing a pen test for somebody, you should run AutoRecon ever. If you run AutoRecon and you're pen testing me, I'll think that something is wrong with you because, as you can see, it's a ton of tools that are being ran. And this tool does not care about detection or anything. It cares about one thing, which is, can we find a way to break in? So I'm showing you AutoRecon mostly because a lot of people who watch these things are interested in the OSCP, and this is the tool to use right now. It might be not in the future, but for now, if you don't run AutoRecon and you're going for the OSCP, you're either doing everything manually like this, which is also fine. Yeah, Ghetto Geek, I agree with you. AutoRecon is very, very loud. So if you do an Nmap scan, you will notice right away that you have port 80. And when you see port 80, what is the first thing that you do? Let me know in the comments right now. I mean, these things should be obvious to somebody who's going for the OSCP. They shouldn't be obvious to somebody who is just getting started attacking systems, right? But if you're going for the OSCP and this is your first time watching my screen, you should know. You see port 80, there are 3 steps you should take right away, whether it's 80 or another port. If it says HTTP, there are certain things you should do right away. One of them is visit the damn port. It's 80. You need to go and see. They're running a website. What are they running? Sometimes you go to the website and the website tells you a ton of information. That's the first thing. If this website is running on port 15,000, does anybody care? Maybe not. It's still a damn website. You treat a website the same way, whether you see it on 80, on 20,000, on 9,000, on 10,000. It's the same thing. It's a website. And I think that's what we forget to do is, it's a website. We treat it the same way. First thing is we visit the website. We run GoBuster against the website. We look for robots.txt. We view the page source. We run Nikto against the website, right? Yeah, thanks everybody. Everybody's saying visit the damn website. Yeah, we need to visit the website. We have to, no matter what happened, we have to run Nikto on this thing. Nikto is the least you can do. GoBuster is also something you need to do, but at least run Nikto on this thing. So let's go and visit the website. All right, so let me bring up a new browser, not inside of Kali, just so we can visit this website. All right, so we saw that it's running port 80. We visit the website, right? Because that's what we do. And then we see a website. When you get to a website, the first thing you need to do, start looking at is, can I see any things? There are a few things that you're looking for. You're looking for a login page, a version of whatever is running. Is it a CMS? Is it whatever it is? So you need to be looking at all this stuff here, right? First of all, it says car rental management system. Is this a templated system that we're using? About should tell us more, but you also want to scroll all the way down here. Here, you're looking for, if it's a CMS, it will tell you, hey, so-and-so CMS version, whatever. This time it's saying copyright car rental management system, and it's linking to this location here. So let's open that. It's not going to actually take us to the source code, but we know source code star is going to be a place where we find the source code if we were looking for it. That's very interesting. There's a phone number here. This is actually for the creator of the CMS or whatever this thing is, but we do have a name. It's called car rental management system. Right here. All right. So the next thing we do is we run Nikto against this thing. We also run GoBust against this thing. If we look at our AutoRecon probably ran Nikto against this thing already. It already ran GoBust against it. But of course, I'm not going to rely on AutoRecon right now. So I'll show you how to run Nikto directly. So if you are running Nikto against a website, you just go and find the full URL. I need to do a Nikto -h for host. So Nikto is the one tool. If you are faced with a website, you need to run Nikto against that website if you're not afraid to be caught, because Nikto is very, very loud. AutoRecon will do this for you, but you also need to just run Nikto. Nikto will find the easiest things to exploit on the website, and it will tell you. You don't have to work hard. Nikto will just be like, hey, I found this thing. You should check it out, and you can always check it out. In this case, Nikto is telling us, hey, I found, by the way, there's an admin login PHP page. You should check it out. In fact, it does say here, I tested. Instead, username is equals to test and password is equals to test. So this page right here has to be vulnerable to something like SQL injection. So if you are not familiar with like, oh, what's going on with this thing, Nikto will tell you, you don't have to work hard. It's almost silly to think about it, because right now we know we have a /admin login.php that we need to test. And it says, may allow admin accounts to be inserted without proper authentication. I mean, hacking can't be this hard, right? Nikto is just doing all the work for us. We don't even have to think about things. It's unfortunate that we have to rely on tools like this, but hey, we also have a such database and such CSS. CSS is always interesting to Nikto. All right. So in addition to this, we also have to run a GoBuster, just in case we are missing something. All right, let me bring up my notes here so we can see what we can run with GoBuster. If you have not created your notes, you need to. If you have not yet had notes in your life, I think you should. And those notes come from either watching other people like me attacking and you creating your notes, or you could be attacking systems live and then you create your own notes as you go. This right here, these are my notes, and I just searched for GoBuster. They were in OneNote. You should use Cherry Tree if you don't use Microsoft products. This is going to save you a ton of time in dealing with syntax. This is because, as you will know, you are not in the business of learning about GoBuster today. You are in the business of scanning that system and hacking that system. The last thing you want is spend 10 minutes learning about GoBuster right now. GoBuster will go and brute force directories. We'll go and pass on that. I'll be making videos on how to use GoBuster later. So the idea is, if you have notes that tells you exactly the syntax, you don't have to worry about syntax. Most people who fail the OSCP, if you ask them, I've been speaking to some people, they'll be like, well, GoBuster didn't run. I'm like, you were in the exam fighting GoBuster. That's the last thing you want to be doing. GoBuster should be a secondary thing. You should be just attacking the system. GoBuster is going to brute force directories, and here's the syntax for it. It's 192.168.38.86. This is supposed to just go and attack the system. All right, I'll let you know on a little secret here. You see it's spilling a bunch of nonsense here. We can be very specific. If we know that the website runs a PHP, let's do an index.php. This is how I test websites. See, yeah, this one is running PHP because I just put index.php at the end of the main one, and it worked. You can say dash extension PHP txt tar and so forth. This will speed up your GoBuster because you know it's a PHP site. You're looking for text, you're looking for tar, you can look for .text. This will actually give you interesting results compared to that. So now we are running GoBuster, we are brute forcing directories. This will show us what directories are available on our website, just in case Nikto didn't give us anything. But if you ran Nikto, you should by now be looking and say, wow, that's interesting. It says may indicate local or remote file or whatever this is, inclusion, right? And here's an OSB. It's saying index.php. If you scroll up here, we did see that we have a /admin login as well. It says I may allow user admin accounts to be inserted without proper authentication. So you have everything that you need to be able to attack this system just from Nikto here. GoBuster is optional in this case because, I mean, it will find things, but that's not going to be helpful. With this one, you can actually also specify that you only want 200 or four threes if it's a redirect. But Nikto is giving us what we need already right here. It's showing us that we have an admin login.php. So let's go there. All right. This is what you should face the first time you get here. Without any knowledge, you should be able to start testing this. It did say you have /admin and it's vulnerable to injections, right? So you can try SQL injections here. That's your first goal, right? Because you do have a /admin and it's login.php. All right. My Security Onion finally came back online. Let's see what it caught. We started after we were attacking. So yeah, here's Nikto. So we did catch some things here. I'll open Kibana for us for the future. But if you are ever faced with a login page as an attacker, you owe it to yourself and everybody after you to test a few things. Admin password. Administrator password. Administrator, there's a few things you should try. You owe it to yourself. The last thing is you want to leave a pen test or an exam and you did not even test admin 123, administrator password. You need to test those things. You are an attacker after all. You are supposed to be testing the obvious, right? That's the first thing. We need to be testing for those things like admin. I just tried it. They don't work. If you ever get a login page and you don't try the obvious username and passwords, I'm going to say it right now without apologizing. You are a fool. You are a damn fool. You should try the obvious passwords. If you see MySQL, you should try the MySQL root and no password. You owe it to yourself and everybody after you. And in this case, I went back here because there's a few things you should also try when you meet a password. You should first figure out how it works. This is a car rental thing, right? I mean, forgive the extended crap here, but you should try it like, oh, this is saying I can rent a car. So I will try from this day to this day, and I want an SUV. Can I find availability? Yeah, this thing doesn't work. You try it again. What about this day to this day? This time I'm again saying any car. I just need a car. Oh, I see I can get a car. Can I book this car? Then you put all this information here and you try to see what happens if I try to book this thing. It says booking sent. You can try cross-site scripting here and see if it works, like the pop-up cross-site scripting. But you can book a car. About, you should also look for the contact page and look for people's information. If you see sample information, this means that this is the sample information that I actually left here because I was just trying to troll you. This phone number here actually works. You should call the creator for this machine, tell them that their machine, their system is actually vulnerable. But using our tools, we found a few things. We found out that we have an admin page and it's vulnerable to also admin without proper authentication. So we can try SQL injection. I have a SQL payloads. Again, one more reason why you should have notes. If you go to the OSCP without notes, I don't know how you're going to pass it. You need to have notes of common things that should not cause you grief, like SQL payloads. These ones are meant to be used by burp intruder, but they also work for what I'm doing here. These are the generic SQL payloads, so you can try this one. And when you're testing for SQL injections, you just put the same thing in the username and password. And if you do admin and so that one doesn't work, you can try to send this one to burp intruder and test SQL injection. I guarantee you it works because I've seen somebody do it. I didn't intend it that way when I made the machine, but SQL injection here, one of these payloads that I have here, works. So you can try this one to web intruder and it will work. Just don't use SQL Map. SQL Map makes your life too easy and we don't want that. All right. In addition to this, the other thing I wanted to show you, if you face a website, this is a dead given, right? It says car rental management system. I mean, how obvious can it be? We plug that in Google and say exploit. We see something from ExploitDB right away. It says, hey, we have car rental management system on ExploitDB. You are an attacker after all. You should use everything available to you. And nobody should be telling you what or what not to look at. ExploitDB says, yeah, we do have a car rental management system. And this time it's a car rental management system 1.0. We don't know that, but it's a SQL injection and arbitrary file upload. Somebody asked here, can you use app scanners on? Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, I used all kinds of scanners on the OSCP. So we Googled this thing and it worked. A lot of people were like, oh, I didn't find a way. You ask them. I always ask people because people fail the OSCP and then they reach out to me like, hey, I was sitting there, I could not find a way in. I say, did you see a name? What did you see? Did you Google what you saw? And people say, oh, I never thought about that. You are a damn attacker. You should Google the damn thing. You see something, you don't know anything, you Google it. You have the internet open to you. You are faced with a name, car rental management system. What do? You plug that in Google and see what happens. Is there something that shows up? This is what I don't understand. I went for the OSCP and I got 100 points because I know how to Google. And people go to the OSCP and they fail with 60 points. And you ask them, did you Google the thing? No. Or did you? You just need to, if you are ever stuck, copy the damn thing, plug it in Google and see what comes out. You are an attacker. I don't know why. I don't know why anybody needs to tell you this. Not every exploit is going to be on ExploitDB. Sometimes it's going to be on GitHub. Sometimes it's not going to be anywhere where you always look for exploits. You need to plug in that thing in Google. If you ever are scratching your head and you're stressed out, copy, paste in Google and type the word exploit after it. Type the word proof of concept, POC, and see what comes out. A lot of people will fail the OSCP, and I can tell they did not Google the damn thing. They just were stuck. They were stressing. They were probing the system. You just need to get out of that thing. You see a system you're not familiar with. Nobody's going to tell you to be familiar with the system. Nobody expects you to be familiar with the system, but you have the open internet to actually scan the damn thing. So we Googled this. We got an exploit. And the first thing that happens here is we're like, oh man, what is this thing? Yeah, this exploit looks interesting. It will look for the default page and it will do things. Okay. In fact, it does take us to the source code this time. If you read the exploit, you can go to this exploit. I don't want to go there because we'll see the password. I don't want to do that. But hey, if you ever go to an exploit, before you run it, read the software link. There's usually links about proof of concepts where they actually walk you through step by step how to do it. Read the lines here before you run the exploit. But here, let's do this. Let's take it further since we are on this learning journey, right? If we didn't Google it, offensive security or OffSec people, they like this because they maintain this site, right? Just come to ExploitDB or search exploit and search for car rental management system from ExploitDB because they manage this. So chances are their exploit that they're looking for is here. And here's the local file inclusion again. So we can open that. It's car rental management system. What does our website say? car rental management system. All right, so let's look for the first proof of concept here. Hey, Mamadou, it's good to see you, brother. Thanks for joining. Our exploit proof of concept says go to localhost car rental index.php. And if you are such a script kiddie, you will be very amazed. I've seen people copy this thing like this, like, oh, proof of concept says to go there and paste it. What is wrong with this? Every time somebody does this, it shows me their level of expertise, right? Hey, by the way, this is not going to work. It says localhost here. You are not localhost. You're not running this on localhost. It says car rental here. If you go here, it says car-rental. So what do? This is how OffSec with people who know what they're doing and those who don't know what they're doing. You don't copy and paste proof of concepts and hope they work. You understand, okay, they're saying to go to the website. That's what this just means here. Go to the website. Then after the website, this is what you put. This is the injection that Nikto coded for us earlier. So you copy that. You know that this is the real website, and you put the real website here. And you put it after your website. You customize the exploit to your needs, right? And you hit enter. And right away, this one actually just shows you, hey, by the way, we got admin and whatever this is. So according to this exploit here, this is a local file SQL injection or local file include. And the first proof of concept said you can see passwords here. And that's what we did. Working with proof of concepts and exploits from ExploitDB takes time. You are not expected the first time you see this website to know how to do it. You have to practice. The more you interact with exploits, the more you realize, oh, that's what's happening. In this case, this exploit is not a Python script, it's not a PHP, it's not anything. It's just like, hey, this is what you do. You need to be able to read when people are just telling you what to do and understand what they're talking about. In this case, they're saying go to the website and visit this site here. First time I saw this exploit, I had no idea what they were talking about. I just went there. I was like, good, let's go there and see what happens. And sure enough, we get what looks like a password hash. Before I start being fancy and going on my Kali Linux and showing my prowess and skills, I go to CrackStation. If you are ever faced with a hash, before you call your good friend John or whatever tool to crack, try it on CrackStation. This might save you a ton of time because there is no syntax involved, right? It's just crackstation.net. Everybody uses it. Crack the hash. And in this case, we see that the hash actually comes back to admin123. That's good, because if you go to our car rental here, we actually have an admin page that Nikto told us that we can log into. It says admin123. And we're in. There are a couple ways you can go about this here. You can poke around. If you're ever signed in as an administrator, the first thing you're looking at is, are these people dumb enough to give me password hashes? So I'll go to the users right away. I'm hoping they will show me more users and they have password hashes. They don't. I only have the admin, which is the one that I got in with. So this is not going to help me. Even if I have the option to change the admin password, it's not going to help me that much, but it's admin123. So that's not good. You always want to see, where do they keep their users? Can I change the users' passwords? Can I see users' password hashes? Can I reuse those users' passwords on SSH? In this case, I don't think we will, because we actually just got in as admin. Then you can poke around to see, can you upload files? That's your next goal. If I can upload files, I am going to upload files in here. This is a PHP website. So if I go to system settings, here, guess what? It asks me to upload files. So I can upload files if I wanted to, which is interesting, right? That's one way. If you did not look at ExploitDB, this will tell you, hey, by the way, you can upload files. If you can upload images, this is what you do. You disguise your images, PNG, JPEGs. You upload them as JPEGs. You intercept them with Burp Suite, and you switch the extension from JPEG to PHP and see if the website accepts that. That's what you do. So it does accept that. If we go back here, we actually did C4 actually for this. One of them said authenticated. So it's car rental management system here. We got in. This one says authenticated, and guess what? It's remote code execution. If you are ever looking for exploits and it says remote code execution, that is gold. You want to try remote code execution at all costs. It's like money. Because if you can get remote code execution, guess what? You are in business. So let's practice getting familiar with reading exploits. I can say this without even violating OSCP stuff, because they love ExploitDB. They create and maintain ExploitDB. Chances are 3 out of 4 machines that will be attacking, the exploits will come from here. Everybody knows that. It's not a secret. They don't keep it a secret. They maintain this thing. If you come to my YouTube channel, what do you think I'm going to be exploiting? I'm going to be exploiting machines that I created. For the OSCP, if you find something, chances are it comes from here, because they maintain and do this. In fact, that has been my biggest worry about creating these machines, is because I might accidentally create an exploit that they have in the exam, and I'll never know, because if I didn't face it, I'll never know. But they love this, so why not practice on this website here? So let's go to this one here. It says authenticated. We have our admin user, admin, and password is password, admin123 from here. So this one says authenticated. So this is what they say about you being able to think outside of the box, you being able to connect things 2 and 2 together. You search for an exploit, found one. If you are tunnel visioned and you are not thinking straight, you think, oh, that's it. If you are somebody who is open-minded and who is not freaking out, who is not panicking, thinking that this exam is about to kill them, you come back and say, oh, I saw 4. I wonder if one of those can take the password. You know, being able to think outside the box and think clearly, they're capitalizing on your ability to panic and your ability to freak out and stop thinking. The more you think, the more you're likely to actually get that machine and get done. So this one is another one. It says authenticated. I like it because it says remote code execution. That's gold. If you see remote code execution, it's worth your time, because if it works, you're in. All right, we read it again. Unlike my previous machines where we had Python script to run, this time they just gave you a snapshot of something that will look like you intercepted using burp. And if you are not familiar with web applications and how they communicate, you are in no luck. If you have no idea what post is, you are like, what is a post request? You have never heard of web request, get, post, and the options to see what's running. If you have never learned about web applications, this will send you up for a loop. But if you know how web applications communicate, you know, oh, this is a post, so it's coming from us to the website. We are posting something. Hey, you post everything on Facebook, LinkedIn, and WhatsApp and whatever. So this is a post to us. It's going to the car rental admin, and whatever this thing is, save settings. So it's in the settings section. I'm getting the idea. First, I need to understand it's a post request. If this is your first time hearing the word post, you need to go and learn about how web applications communicate with clients. Like, how does the client server communication, the fact that there is a client who can send posts, get options, and how that communication works. If you're going for the OSCP and you have no idea what I'm talking about here, you need to go and learn about how web applications communicate, especially the client-server relationship, and also just the status codes that you get from web applications, and also the type of requests you can send as a client. And also like this right here, the referrer, we know what that is. If you don't know what a cookie is, you also need to go and learn about that, because looking at this here, this could be gold. There are instances where you need to manipulate the cookies. There are instances where you need to manipulate your post. We can capture this request in burp, but it's going to the car rental admin, then something, but it's saying save settings. So I can quickly say it's somewhere in the settings here. And the only thing I can see in the settings is the damn upload. So I can assume I'm dealing with the upload page from that. Yeah, so I can assume right away that I'm dealing with the admin page in the settings by looking at this right away. We're not dealing with the cookie, so I'll look at the whole request here. And guess what? I see here a PHP code that's being sent, and it's saying this is the content of the PHP file. That's interesting, right? This looks like a snapshot of somebody when they intercept their request from Burp Suite. I'm going to say this for the final time. 2 people reached out to me on Reddit. They were like, well, I'm going for the OSCP next week. What should I look for? If you have no idea what web requests look like when they are sent to your client, you need to go and brush up on your client-server relationship and also intercepting these things with Burp. That will help you a lot, because if you have no idea how a Mozilla Firefox browser interacts with a website, you're going to be in for a nice treat when you go for the exam, because that's something that's expected. 90% of the websites people visit every day are websites, so you need to know that. But in addition to this file, with this text here, we also see that the proof of concept says visit the uploads. That's interesting, right? This one here. Then it is a file name in parentheses. So we need to upload a file called k.php, and that file is going to get this content here. And then to be able to use that file, we need to use this. You don't get this. It's not a miracle. You only get this. You only get to know about this from practicing. I came from not knowing anything about web applications to actually knowing this from attacking machines from VownHub and stuff like that. If you look on my channel, I've attacked more than 150 machines. So I know how to read this from practice. The only way you're going to get this is to practice. Don't think that you have to take some fancy class on programming. No, I didn't do that. You can also just practice. So I spent some time here showing you how to read this thing here. But just know that when you are attacking systems, it could be anything. It could be a Python script. It could be a PHP script. Just being comfortable with ambiguity is going to be your best friend. And the most important thing is you not panicking. The moment you think you have failed and you convince yourself that you have failed and this is going to get you, it will get you. Having a certain level of arrogance and say, okay, I may not know what's going on here, but I'm going to find out, is key. The moment you start saying, oh my God, and touching your head and shaking it and walking up and down and your head starts spinning upside down, you are done. The OSCP and any type of attack is a mental game. Those who are mentally strong are going to survive. Those who are mentally weak are going to fail. And I think that a lot of people don't tell you that, but that's true. People who you can prepare all you want. You can attack 150,000 machines. If you easily panic, you are going to fail because you're going to get in your head. You're not going to think clearly. Attacking is you are supposed to keep a clear head. Always assure yourself, I may not know what's going on here. Give me 5 minutes, I will find out. And that is the mentality that you want. The moment you start thinking, I don't know what I'm doing, I might be a fraud, I might be useless, or I don't know what I'm doing. Of course, you play that in your head 10 times, you obviously don't know what you're doing. The moment you say, I may not know how to read these lines of crap here, but I will find out, and you're likely to try harder. Oh God, I said the word. I hate that. You're likely to try more. Don't try harder. Nobody should tell you to try harder. All right, so let's go and exploit this thing now that I've spent some time giving you a spiel of my thoughts on there. All right, so our exploit here says, hey, go to this thing and intercept this request. We have two options here. We can go and intercept a request to the site using burp suite, which I highly encourage you to do. Or we can just go and, now that we know what we're doing, create a file named k.php, put this content inside of that file, and upload that file. Once you upload that file, visit this URL here and start typing commands. That's what this exploit is saying. And like I said, if you're intimidated by this, do what I did. Attack as many machines as you can. Brute force your way into hacking. It will work. So if we go to, let's go here. You notice that I actually have a k.php here. The contents are not special. I did not come up with this. I got it from the proof of concept. I could have put my own PHP, but I literally copied from here. So what am I saying here? Being able to read exploits and understand what's going on is going to save you a ton of time. A lot of people who fail the OSCP, they find the exploits. Most of the people that I talk to, they're like, yeah, I found it. I just didn't know how to use it. You can try, after like 40 minutes of interrogating a system, if you've been practicing, you will find it. You just won't know how to use it. And that's going to be what frustrates you the most. And unfortunately, there's one way to do it. You either need to have a background in web applications, or if you don't, like me, you have to brute force your way into it by attacking as many systems as you can. So here's my k.php. I'm going to upload this thing here to the website. So let's do that right now. So I need to open a browser here and then add it to our website and use it the same way as the proof of concept. It says, I want to learn OSCP, how I start my machine, but I don't know. Yeah, you need to watch my videos. Watch, dude, I have more than, I don't know, 50, 60 videos here of me attacking systems. The first thing that you should do is just start attacking systems. Just start watching other people do it. You might not know what they're doing in half of the time, but it will make sense. Just start attacking people, systems, and watch other people do it. Watch myself, watch IPSec. If you get stuck with IPSec, watch me. I think I show you how to be a real noob. Because I make mistakes. I tell you like what's dumb and what will get you. I have more than 60 videos. I can tell you that I probably have more than 80 videos of me attacking systems, system after system after system. You will get it. It's like brute forcing your way into it. So first thing is we need to visit that website, right? Let's see. /admin. So let's go and actually upload our k.php. We have admin 1, 2, 3. If you go to settings, you would have found this either way. Whether you found the exploit or not, you would have found that you can upload things here. You should try, by all means, to upload something. So here, let me see if I have k.php. Here, open, save. All right, so we just uploaded our k.php. Let's listen to what this thing is saying. It's saying, oh, by the way, after you're done, go to admin, access uploads, and there's a random file name here. Then you can do that, and k is equals to who am I. So we don't know what the file name is. This is what gets you. But we can find out. It's telling us we have an uploads here. If you did your go buster completely, you would have known that there's an uploads. If you ever find that a website has an uploads exposed, what do you do as an attacker? You go and find out what have been uploaded there. You are an attacker. We expect you to be curious about uploads. We expect you to be curious about administrator pages. So we should actually go and visit that. There's an uploads page. You owe it to yourself. And here, it uploaded our k.php, but it gave it a random name. That's fine, right? So we click on that, and it gives us an error. But according to our exploit, we need to put a question mark, and k is equals to who am I? Well, this is a Windows system. Maybe we can do that. And sure enough, it works. K is equals to who am I? It says, hey, you are in as cars and the user mini. This is the name of the server. This is the user. Well, I don't like that. I would like to test it. It's a Windows system. Can I do an IP config? That will show me that I can actually run things. Oh, IP config gives me results. If you like your results to look nice, you right click, view page source. It will format them for you. That's a nice trick that I learned from watching somebody. And here, oh yeah, sure enough, it's itsl.local and here's the IP address. I can run commands on this system. I am in business. Anything that I do from now on is going to be up to you. And again, this just depends on what your skill level is. To get reverse shell here, there's like 20, 30 ways to do it. One person will just use PowerShell and get a reverse shell. That's okay. Somebody will go for the command line and they'll get reverse shell. Somebody will upload Netcat and get a reverse shell. It does not matter. However you get your reverse shell, this does not count. If you get this on the OSCP, you did not compromise the system. You don't even get a point. You get 0. But let me know in the comments which way do you guys prefer that we do it? Should we go with PowerShell directly and just get a reverse shell, or should we upload Netcat and use Netcat to get a reverse shell? Let me know in the comments here. We can also use burp suite and actually use burp base64 URL encode. You actually need to URL encode your things to hide sometimes. So let me know which way you guys prefer in the comments so that we can actually do that. But there's 1,000 ways we can do this. There's literally 1,000 ways we can do this. So I'm curious what people are not familiar with. One thing that we can do is upload Netcat, then run Netcat commands to get a reverse shell back. That's a good way. Over the past 2 weeks, I showed you how to use PowerShell. I'm not going to use that again. I'm not going to use Nisheng today. Nisheng has been abused on this channel so many times, but Nisheng works both ways, maybe. Faris said, let's just do both ways. Okay, let's upload Netcat here. And then let's run Netcat to get a reverse shell. Let's use one of that. If you are curious how to use PowerShell, watch my last week's video. And the week before that, we used PowerShell on a browser like this. It's very easy. But today, let's upload Netcat. Sounds like a better option for us. And it's something new. And by the way, we are actually detecting all these things. So before I upload Netcat, let's go and look for our k.php. Let's see if we can find it. I would like to find our PHP that we uploaded right now under the Discover. If you want to set up this lab here, I have a whole series of like how to set up your own investigation. And I was telling my students on Saturday when with the class that I teach, this is how you get paid. The attack is fine and great. Employers are looking for people who can do what I'm doing here. You need to be able to detect stuff. If you are under attack, nobody cares whether you can attack. People want to know, can you search and tell us what happened? I'm just going to look for any PHP, and oh, I forgot to change my timer. All right, here is when we uploaded the vulnerable stuff, and here's the name. And this was caught by Zeke. So you do get caught by people. If you start pulling this stuff in people's networks, they will actually get you. They will catch you. All right, here is when we uploaded something in the car rental. So if you are like on the blue team, you're like, oh, how do I catch that attack? There you go. And we get it. The user agent was really curl. This thing is crazy. It doesn't know what we're doing. All right, so we can upload here. So if you are just beginning, and I highly encourage you to do this. If this is your first time dealing with reverse shells, go to this website, revshells.com. I did not know about this before I went for the OSCP, but let's generate a reverse shell for ourselves here. Let's put port 5544. I just picked up a random number. This is a buffet. We are shopping. I want a reverse shell for Windows. If you don't use this, you better know what you're doing. I like to use Netcat. People ask for Netcat, and the shell is going to come from the command line. So I choose CMD down here. If you don't choose this one, it will default to shell. So it says after we get Netcat on the system, we need to run netcat -e cmd, then the IP address. And to catch it back, we need to run netcat -lvnp, the port. If you have never caught a reverse shell in your life, this is the biggest cheat I've ever seen. I hope it doesn't take away from your learning. Know the difference between a bind and reverse shell, of course. But of course, if you want to use MS of Venom, it will give you the option. It's called revshells.com. So all you need to do is put Netcat on the system, run netcat with -e, tell it that it's going to bring up a command line, give it the IP address and the port that we're running. This makes you getting reverse shells on point. Your goal here is to not struggle getting reverse shells. So what we need to do is, let's go back to our system and bring Netcat there. All right, so let's go back here and put the URL that we had. This needs to be on your Kali Linux, of course. Yeah, it's a really, really cool site. I agree with you, Dicho. It's the best. It's the best beginner-friendly site, and I think I've never seen other people show it, but I will show you how to use it. Okay, so all we need to do is get a Netcat file there, because Windows does not come with Netcat already installed. So you can do this if all you want. Where's my site now? You can come here and say, well, I just want to run this, and paste it here. I'll show you what happens. Nothing. It will tell you to go #send. But we should be able to put Netcat on our system, and then we should be able to get it there. And somebody actually did ask a very beautiful question here. Is setutil detected, flagged by blue teams? Let's do that. Let's use setutil to get Netcat to this system, and then we check to see if setutil is actually detected. So let's do that right now. So let's go. Let's go to my notes. All right. I'm going to say this one more time. If people go to the exam and they have no idea how to use setutil, I have no idea how they pass the OSCP. If people go to the exam and they don't have notes on how to use these tools and they're just going from memory, power to them. I have so much respect for people who do that. You should have notes that tell you how to use these stupid tools without worrying about syntax. If you go in the exam and set2 is spilling about a bunch of errors about syntax, you are in deep shit. You need to actually have your syntax on point. Syntax about tools like Hydra, set2, that should be the least of your worries. And I think that's how you fail, in fact, fighting stupid tools like set2. So have your notes, know how to use set2 or whatever other tools, know that the syntax is right. Never worry about syntax of a tool in an exam. If you worry about the syntax of a tool, you are in a lot of trouble. You need to have used it, you need to know how to use it, and you need to know that it works. So in this case, we have set2. So let me create a new page here. All right, so here's where I've used set2. I actually used it last week. We want netcat.exe. That's the tool that we are going to be using. We're not copying juicy potato today. We're copying netcat.exe. So we do this. All right, what am I doing with this command? I'm using set2, which is just like your curl command, which is just like your wget. Set2 is by default on Windows. Not every Windows version has set2.exe. Some do, some don't. So I just call set2 here. It's going to copy netcat.exe from my system, and it's going to put it in the /tmp, or is it temp for Windows? I'll leave that one for now. Then this needs to be the IP address of your Kali Linux. So let's find out what is my IP here. It's going to be 29. This is where your notes are going to save you a ton of all right, so oh yeah, thank you. This is Windows after all. All right, now I need to have set2 on my netcat.exe on my system. If you don't have Netcat, I encourage you to go to your trusted browser. Look up something silly like Netcat, GitHub. You see something. I don't remember the GitHub page. So if anybody knows, yeah, there we go. This is where you clone this repo, you get your Netcat. So you do have two here. You have netcat.exe and netcat64.exe. I'll tell you right now, this one works for both 64 and 32-bit. You can try this one if you want, but this one, I tried it. It works for both. So git clone this repo. This is how you get your netcat.exe. All right, so let's see here. I have cloned that repo, and here's my netcat.exe. My personal preference is Python 3. On port 80. That's how I host my exploits. You can use Python simple HTTP, whatever you want. We are hosting this server here so we can transfer this file to the victim using set2. So let's go back to our set2 and copy this command here. Wait a second. No. All right, so since we can run any commands here, we run it here. This right here is a lazy man's way of doing things. The real way to do this is intercept this request in burp suite, URL encode the whole thing, and you get a clean, easy way to get there. I'm doing this so that I can catch setutil in my intrusion detection system. I don't want your URL encode, then I might not catch it. But know that you need to intercept this request in burp suite, then put this, and then go about it. Sometimes it doesn't work until you URL encode it. Some of you are going to have echoes in your ears in the exam from my live streams of me saying this thing. You need to URL encode this thing here. The only reason why I'm not doing that is because I want to catch this in my intrusion detection system. Because I've URL encoded things. Security Onion doesn't catch it. All right, so let's do that. We get good news. setutil worked. So what do we do here? Because I have trust issues. I would like this thing to tell me that it actually worked. So I'll remove everything. I want to see my thing in there. I'll run dir. Can you please show me? Of course, it doesn't want to show me. See temp. I think it's this way. Oh, look. It's not in there. I see reverse.exe, which I put earlier. So my setutil didn't work. We do it again. I think somebody was trying to tell me this in the chat. We fix the path. And we do it again. But now you know how to verify things, right? Right, so setutil worked. Let's do a dir and make sure that it's in there before we run it. Oh, BT says it's there. Didn't I see it? All right, here we go. We have our netcat.exe in there. Thanks, BT. So now we know. Now we know it's in there. There is no guesswork. We can now run our Netcat. So let's go back to our site. Where is that website that tells us how to attack? So this one says, hey, run Netcat. Give it this command on that port. I chose 5544. I just made this port up right now. To catch your shell, run Netcat on your victim here. This is what you run. I mean, this is what you run on the victim. This is what you run on the attacker. So let's run this on the attacker first. So I'll stop that. And then I'll paste that. Hacking made easy, right? Hacking made simple. We have some tools. The internet is telling us how to hack. Then it says, hey, by the way, run Netcat and give it this option. I'm highlighting this because I'm not going to copy the Netcat command here, and I'll show you a cool trick. I like my attacks to be as automated and as mindless as possible. I want to minimize my errors. Half of the time when I don't get my reverse shells is because I'm being a dumbass and I'm making too many mistakes. So I automate all my stuff by using trusted. So this is the command that I need to run. I don't have to worry about whether I ran the right command or not. It's right here. So I copy that. Every time I struggle, it's because I literally am making so many ridiculous mistakes, and it's syntax about some tool, and I don't want that. All right, so let's go here. In fact, let's just go here. We're saying we're starting from C temp /netcat.exe. And the command that we're running is ecmd, the IP address, and 5444. This should give us a reverse shell. Why did I do this right here? I gave a full path to my executable for Netcat. And then I just ran whatever the command is running. I'm also making sure that I'm listening. I'm maximizing my chances of getting this reverse shell. If it doesn't work, I send this to burp suite. I URL encode this whole thing, and I send it again. Sometimes you have to URL encode a couple of times. I've actually done that, where you URL encode the first time the easy way, it doesn't work. You send it again. But I want to detect this, so I'll go ahead and enter. If it hangs, if it keeps spinning, that's good news. You might be in luck. If it fails right away, you're in deep trouble. It is hanging, that's good for me, so I can come back here and I can tell right away I got a reverse shell. What we just went through right here is by far the hardest thing for most people. Most people don't even get the first shell. Privilege escalation is easy. If you follow the try hack me privilege escalation rooms, you will almost get privilege escalation. Getting initial shell like what we did here is the hardest way. So we just got a shell using, of course, Netcat. Last week, I showed you how to use Nisheng. Nisheng also works using PowerShell, and it's actually the easier way because it's not 2 steps. Yes, browsers auto-encode all URLs, but sometimes I think with burp suite you can double URL encode, and that will bypass the other side as well. All right, so now that we're in, first thing you type is who am I? You're in as mini. All of my systems are made after my son. I have a 2-year-old kid. Yeah, he's like everything for me. I do this for him. I make sure that I'm studying and I'm always good and in my craft because of my 2-year-old son. So because of that, when I'm making a machine, I probably have watched Mickey Mouse sometime during the day with him. So this is Mini. I almost said Mini Cooper for this user because it was fun. But this machine is called Dealer 313. You're going to notice that 313 is the number plate for Donald Duck's car. So Donald Duck has a car in Mickey Mouse crap. You see it. 313 is that's the thing. So these machines are all dedicated to my son. So I can CD C. Then I can do it there. I'm going to say something that people are not going to like. If you have never ran commands in a Windows system in the command line and your goal is to be a hacker, you're going to have a tough time. If you have no clue what I did here by CD, C, and that, and you're like, why did you do that? You need to go back and learn Windows PowerShell a little bit and some Windows command line. You cannot be a hacker attacking systems and you cannot even walk through the command line the way I'm doing here. So you need to go back to the basics. How do you navigate Windows through a shell, not clicking around? And that's going to really, really help you. I don't mean to criticize people, but people who fail the OSCP or who struggle with hacking, they're like, well, I don't know what to do after I get initial user. I just ran a tool and I got in. You are supposed to be a hacker. A hacker is supposed to know how systems work. Then they're supposed to abuse them after they know how they work. If you don't know how to navigate the command line in Windows the way I'm doing here, you have no business hacking systems. You have business learning Windows. And over the years, after having this channel for 3 years or so, I just learned to be blunt and tell people, you know what? You should not be attacking any systems. Go and take a Windows class, learn how to navigate the Windows command line. Don't tell me that you're struggling and things are hard when you don't even know how to move around. So see, that's where this is equivalent to the home directory. Then from here, we can go to program files. That's where Windows keeps program files. This is where also Windows keeps program files. We also have a program data location. And we also have a /Windows. This temp here, I think I made this temp directory. You can always make a directory on the C drive, but C is where Windows does most of its work. If you can go here, the first place you should check is maybe users, so you can see what users are there. I have Mickey, who is an administrator on this system, by the way. I have Minnie, who is the one that I'm signed in as. So my goal is to pivot to Mickey from here. There's a few things that you can do. There's a tool called WinPeas. And you can download this one from GitHub. It's called WinPeas for privilege escalation. You need that too. WinPeas will tell you if a system is vulnerable and what it's vulnerable to. You just need to get familiar with reading the results. And your goal is to transfer winpeas.exe to the victim and run WinPeas and be able to read what WinPeas tells you. By far, WinPeas will tell you, hey, I found this system is vulnerable to this, and it will tell you it makes privilege escalation 10 times easier. I will not run WinPeas because I want you to see a few things that you can do as soon as you get on the system. One of the first things that you should do is, oh, I cannot clear my screen. Great. Check what users are there. Just in case, through your enumeration, you could have seen somebody's password somewhere, and you can reuse the passwords and things like that. So always know what users are there. After that, you can now go back and check program files. So cd to that file folder here. And then it will tell you if this user has installed any funny business, like Google Chrome is a good one. If you see Google Chrome here, go find out if there's a way to exploit Google Chrome. Firefox also. Any browsers that are not, what is the default browser here? The one that comes with Windows. You should check it out. You should also check this one. Take it from me, I'm copying these for a reason. Windows is very sensitive to spaces. Yeah, it's Edge. Thanks, Faris. I've not seen an exploit for Edge yet. Do a dare. Are they running any funny business here? If you see some application that is interesting, that is not natively installed on Windows, you should check it out. In fact, here we see that this user is running this one here, Druva. And then it's running InSync. And we have that. That's gold to me. And by the way, I love Windows because it's not case sensitive like Linux. I can type everything here in lowercase in the Windows to understand it. So we are running this random tool here. You should always check what software is running. Ideally, what version of it is running. So we checked the version, we have this one. Second manual enumeration is Netcat. I think I always do -A. Don't ask me what -A means. I think it means all. By the way, I just typed that quick. Netcat -A. Netcat is going to show me all ports that are open. And I'll tell you what this is going to do. It's going to look for ports that are running as local host that are not exposed to everybody else. And that can show you things that you didn't see with your Nmap. You have to do this whether you're doing a pen test engagement or not, because people run databases locally and they're like, well, it's not exposed to everybody, so nobody can abuse it. You will see a database running here. You will see some website running here. You'll be surprised. And if you see all zeros here, that means it's listening on all ports. That's not what you're after. These you probably have seen from your Nmap. These here, 127.0.0.1, that's what you're after. It's a lot of information, but the more you practice, the more your eyes are going to be like, yep, I've never seen that port in my life. Like 6059, 6064. What's running on port 6064? In fact, this one is something established on it, but this is a port that we didn't see here exposed. This is part of being an attacker, thinking like, well, people are not that smart. They're going to think that they're safe by running something on local host. I'm going to take advantage of that. So here is port 6064. I put this one here so that you have the option. You can port forward this port using all port forwarding ways that you want. It will work for you. That's one way to do it. Or if you also looked in, like it says you're running in sync. As an attacker, you have two options here. I gave you two ways to figure out how to privilege escalate. Either you were going to find that port or you're going to find this service here. Either way, it was going to work for you. Because if you go to ExploitDB, you'll notice that I'm not running search exploit because I like the browser version of ExploitDB because it's always up to date. My search exploit is not always up to date. And I also like to read my exploits from the browser. So if I run Druva, oh, you're like, well, what did you do there? I found it here. It's a program that's running. I searched for it. I'm an attacker. I know if I see something that I don't know, I Google the hell out of it to see if it works for me. And here on ExploitDB, it says, wow, you have a PowerShell, which is the easiest way to get privilege escalation on this machine. Or you have this one here. Well, actually, we have three. We have a PowerShell and also just a shell, a Python script. If you're going to use this one, port forward this port here. In fact, I think that's where you get the most of for your money. Port forward the port that I showed you here to your Kali Linux, then you can run your Python script directly. It will make your life 10 times easier that way. I was not happy that there was a PowerShell module right away to get privilege escalation because it made your life easier. But as an attacker, this is gold, right? So it says, hey, here's a PowerShell script. You can privilege escalate using this thing. So what do we do here? First thing is you're like, oh my God, I've never heard of PowerShell. What is this animal called PowerShell? It's fine. Try to read this as if it's Python or whatever language you understand. I hope you understand one, scripting language. If you don't, you might be in a lot of trouble. But right now it's saying the command goes to net user add pwnd. I don't want to add a user. Some people go to root on this system by adding a user. That's probably the better way. I'm going to actually send a fancy command here because I like to send fancy commands. I like to run whatever I want here. So right away, I know I can manipulate this system by putting whatever I want here because that's where the command is going to be. I can zone out and not understand what it's doing up here, but I know I can manipulate this. So what do we do? Let's go and copy this script so you can download it to your system. It's a PowerShell script. So you have to know a thing or two about PowerShell. It should end with PS1. That's one way. Or if you download it, I think it will tell you that it ends with PS1. But let's go here. Instead of copying it here, for integrity's sake, I'm going to copy it to my Kali Linux. And then I will actually paste it to the victim later. Let's see. I'm going to name it privs.ps1 because it's for privilege. Escalation is from my downloads. Then I'll insert and paste. All right. I'm going to be running this on the victim system. So what do I do here? I'm just going to, I don't want to add a user. I find that to be cumbersome, and it depends on whether or not I can add a user. And if the system doesn't allow me to add a user, then I'm in trouble. I'm going to get a reverse shell directly from here because I can run any commands, right? All right. And this also gives us an opportunity to get a reverse shell using another way. Let's run our niching reverse shell since we, no. Let's use our Netcat reverse shell that we already have there. Because we already have Netcat, why not reuse the thing? So we have our Netcat in the C drive. I was going to say let's use niching. So if people prefer me to use niching right now, we can actually do that as well. Okay, so now that we have Netcat pointed to the right location, let's go to our thing. It said I can run this. I want to change my port to 05s. So this is the command. If you're like, dude, you're so lazy, why are you doing that? It's because I'm so bad at typing and getting syntax errors. I'm really terrible. This is my way of hacking my way into hacking because I hate syntax errors at all costs. So this is going to minimize my chances of having made a mistake, even though it's a simple command like -e, cmd, the IP address in the port. My brain freaks out sometimes and it wants to do its own thing. So I will just paste that one here. So now I know when I run this PowerShell, I'm going to get a reverse shell on port 5555. So I need to save this. Then I can start my Netcat listener. So it's Netcat listen for and give us verbose in numeric form on port 5555. That's what this is doing. And we have our exploit in here. It's in my download, so I need to start my PowerShell. I need to start my Python Python 3 -m for the module http .server on 80. There we go. Or somebody says, why don't you work on your typing speed? It's not about typing speed. It's more about my errors that I make. It's not about speed. It's more about the stupid errors that I make because I make assumptions and then I make errors. Yeah. Well, I'm also talking at the same time as typing. So that's why I actually have to look at what I'm typing, because I'm talking to you. And if you have spoken and also typed at the same time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So here I need to do a, see, now I'm getting to my head. It's called privs.ps1. PS1. So it's privs.ps1, and then I can actually bring that PowerShell here using setutil. And setutil is going to work directly on my system. And you notice that I'm putting it in the temp directory because I can write there. I already have my listener open here, so I just need to go back here. Let's go back to my system, cdc, tmp. If I do it there, I know that I can write in here. So I can paste it here. So setutil privs.ps1, that's what it's called. Then I can do that. Then I can do it there. And privs.ps1 is there. So all I need to do is just run privs.ps1. Having my listener on. And let's hope it works. You pray that it works. It didn't do anything. All right, so we are in trouble, right? Because I ran my privs.ps1 and it didn't work. So what happened? All right, so we need to go back and check out what happened with my privs.ps1. Why didn't it work? And this is part of the business. It will not work the first time you run this. Okay, so it's running command 5555. Let's verify we're listening on that. So why didn't this thing run? Oh, you know what? Somebody's right. All right, so we switch to PowerShell. Then let's do privs, the PS1. All right, so it didn't like something because of course, PowerShell execution policy is disabled. But did it actually work? No. All right. So we need to enable execution policy. See, privs the PS1 cannot be loaded because running scripts is. So we need to change PowerShell execution policy. If you don't know what that is, it's something that will get you. And we want to bypass this time. Okay, so we need to set our execution policy. I'm showing you the documentation here because this will get you. So we say PowerShell set execution policy, and then it needs to be either bypass or whatever you want here. Let's look at an example. So I'm going to set it to bypass, and here's the option. So if you're like, oh, I've never heard of that before, there you go. That's the documentation. So let's see what happens there. Set execution policy bypass. Can I do a false? Let's see. Sometimes if you try to do this, it will actually hang here for a very long time. That's when you know you're in trouble. So it's saying, well, you can do that. You need to run PowerShell as administrator to do that. All right, so PowerShell doesn't like me. So let's do this way. Let's see if it will just work from here, from the command line. It's hanging. Nope. So here's what's happening here. I created this machine, of course, so I know how to privilege escalate. What's happening here is exactly what happens when you're trying to attack a machine in the exam. You have the clock ticking like tick-tock, tick-tock, or in a client environment, you're trying like, I can privilege escalate, but hey, PowerShell is not working. Like, what the hell? How do I do this? So let me go to my notes here so I can actually see how I did this last time. All right. Screen. So this PowerShell script doesn't want to work. Let me try one more time to set the execution policy because it should work. And this is the command here. Let's do PowerShell. Let's see if I can force it. So it says, oh no, you cannot do that. It's denied. CMD. Let's do it from here. Oh, it won't let me. If it doesn't let me do that, then I might have to go the other way. That is interesting. It does tell me, hey, set it like this. Set execution policy, scope, current user. So let's do that. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. Execution policy. Let's see if we can do it that way. So, you know, after being on YouTube for a while, I've learned that this is part of the game. I'll be lying to you if I said you go to the exam and you just run a few commands, or you go to a client environment and you just run a few commands and they'll work. No, they won't. If you see people who do that, they've heavily edited their video. what you just experienced here over the past 2 minutes or so is exactly what happens. The damn thing will not work. It will give you a hard time. You just need to know, I'm on the right path. It should work, and you can always do it. So right now, I just set an execution policy of bypass on my current user. So now let's see if I can run it. So you should say privs to PS1. And I'm still listening, so let's see if it ran. No. I needed a core PowerShell for that. Let's hope it works. If it doesn't work, we need to go and figure out why it didn't work. BT says use PowerShell. Yeah, I'm using PowerShell. All right, so it says the term privs to PS1 is not recognized. Let's give it the full path. And there we go. That is what you get from me compared to other YouTube channel. You get to see me make a fool out of myself. I don't take this personal. I made this machine, so I know you will struggle. And knowing that you will struggle, and that's okay, is a big deal as an attacker. So if you like what I just did there, please give me a thumbs up, like this video, and also subscribe to me. I'm slaving for you. I'm literally struggling for you here to show you how hard it is to be an attacker. And I hope that you can find comfort next time you're struggling. Say, that guy went live on YouTube and he was still struggling on a machine that he created. Of course, I didn't expect this to complain about PowerShell today, but now you've learned a thing or two about PowerShell, right? PowerShell execution policy will get in the way of you getting your shell back if you're using PowerShell. So you will have a hard time with your with your PowerShell. But I did this for you. I struggle, and in fact, that was actually not intended. It was supposed to work the first time. I don't know what's up with my execution policy. I had to call it. All right, so let's get the flags, by the way. I think it's on the desktop. So here's our root flag. If you're curious how to get it, that's how we get it. And you can always watch for another machine from me, a Halloween special coming in a week or so. Then I think it's on the desktop as well. So if you go for the OSCP, this is what you do. You do an where am I? Where am I? Then you do an IP config, I think. Then you also do, I think it's mostly an IP config, then you cat the flag. Or one of those, yeah, in IP config, then you cat the flag was the one to make sure that you were actually on the system. Thanks. I'm using Kali 2019 the latest version from 2019. I don't have the very latest version. And I'm also in the incognito mode. All right, so there you go. The unfiltered way of learning how ethical hacking works. And here's the hard truth here. A lot of employers are not going to care about your skills on how to attack the way we were doing. They are not looking for people who can do that. They're looking for people who can detect what we just did. And I think that a lot of people like attacking, and it's fun, it's glamorous. But the hard truth is, pen testing jobs and red team jobs, they are literally a very small section of what people are looking for. So if you don't work in IT security and you are not like a seasoned professional, chances are you will end up starting here. You need to be able to know, how do you detect when attackers are on your system? So I'll do a favor. I'll go and let's find out what we just did. As an analyst, you'll probably be faced with this interface here. Well, not this interface, but your employer, hopefully they have something that looks nicer than this. But there will be alerts, and your job is to pick on alerts every day. So we have a bunch of alerts here. Your task, pick an alert, investigate to see if it's real or not. Find out if that is a false positive or or the correct one. In this case, I see that there's an executable that was downloaded. This should concern you. I'm picking on this one because I know it's a big deal for most companies. If your employer gives you $120,000 and they say, hey, BT, you should protect my systems, the first thing that you should do is make sure that your users cannot download executables from the internet and run them on your network. If they do, they should be blocked from running them. So EXEs should not run on your network unless if they are approved by somebody with administrative privileges. So seeing an alert that says, hey, I see somebody violated our policy here, they downloaded an EXE via HTTP, that's of concern to us. Somebody needs to get in trouble for this. So we should be able to go there and let's drill down. Why are they downloading executables? They should have reached out to their boss and say, hey, boss, I need this software to be able to do my job. Then the boss comes to the head of IT and say, hey, my employee needs this software to do their job. Can you make it available to them? Then IT will come and install that software. Your company should not have people going off the internet on Pirate Bay or wherever they go and downloading software and installing it. And this should catch it. That's what this alert is saying here. Somebody downloaded an executable, and that's not cool. So we should be able to see right away, oh, they downloaded, it's really an executable because you see a bunch of gibberish and it should say DOS mode here. That is a problem. And hey, who was serving this? It was a Python server. Remember our Python HTTP server that we did last time? That's what did this. So we know this download worked because we also got a 200 OK. If you look in there, let's drill down on this. So let's look at another one. I want to know the name of what they downloaded, if I can find it. So let's look at the third one. All right, so this is just showing us the actual file. So here's a cool thing that you can do within Security Onion. You can click on one of these actions. Let's correlate. Let's find related alerts that look like this. Let's correlate this to other things. This should give us other things that are not just Suricata events. So it gives us a Zik, which is like bro, if you know the intrusion detection last time. I'm interested in the HTTP one, but there's a Zik con here. But in the HTTP one here, we can drill down again. If I can. Oh, you can also go to Virus Total, by the way, from here. Or you can Google it, or you can hunt for it. So let's look at this Zik connection here for HTTP. And now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. This is when we use setutil and we downloaded Netcat. As a defender, now you know, oh, somebody downloaded Netcat. They ran a GET request to download Netcat to my victim machine. If you are interested, say this was not Netcat, you can always download this file. So now that we know it's from this one, you can actually request a PCAP. And from this PCAP, you should be able to download the file. If you go to Wireshark, Wireshark will show you how to download the file under the HTTP request. And then you can download the file and do a malware analysis on that file. So that's one thing you can do, is track down alerts. And in this case, when we downloaded our Netcat, that also did that. Let's look at another alert here. So that was one way to do it. And I'm telling you right now, 99% of the time, employers are looking for people who can do what I'm doing now than who can do what I was doing earlier. People who can track down things that happened and tell a story. If you can tell a story, if you can figure it out, you are the person that people are looking for. Somebody who can investigate and really figure out what happened. But of course, you need to know how to be an attacker, right? So let's look at this. It says PS1 request. Oh, PowerShell file request. That's interesting. So source IP and destination. So this was coming from my victim to my Kali. What happened with PowerShell here? It was a GET request using setutil. This is when we uploaded our privs.ps1. You can see here, it's a GET. We were downloading a privs.ps1. As a defender, you should be able to correlate this information here within your system. So if I come here and I say, give me privs.ps1, I should be able to find it as well. Look at how much this thing talks. I mean, this thing talks a lot. It tells you, hey, the user agent was setutil, so you know the person was using setutil to move files around your network. This one looks interesting. Oh, remember what we did last time? Netstat, cd to temp, and we ran setutil. I promise you I did not plant this. This is intrusion detection in action. So you can detect what you did through Security Onion or any decent intrusion detection system. And if the data is not encrypted, as you can see here, we can see what's happening. So, and you can also see what the attacker ran. So what I'm saying here is, while attacking and everything is fun and it's glamorous and it looks cool, this right here is what you need to really focus on, whether you are an attacker or not, because this gets you paid. This actually gets you the experience that not only employers are looking for, but you want to know. If people are doing funny business in my network, I want to know what they're doing. And this will show you how to actually look at events. And then, of course, if you attacked, then you detect it, you get even more in-depth knowledge of what you did. If you're interested in setting up this lab, I have 10 videos in the playlist that says how to set up a home lab, whatever. I show you how to set it up from scratch, and it's a very fun lab. So now we can tell this attacker got on the system, they ran netstat. This is also making a lot of assumptions that the attacker is not going to be encrypting their traffic. And if they're encrypting the traffic, hopefully you are decrypting it. You have SSL decryptors if it's web traffic. Or otherwise, if they decrypted their traffic, you won't be able to tell. If you are going to be the attacker on people's networks, I hope you have learned, if you run setutil this way, you will be caught. And here's evidence for that. So what do? Maybe don't run setutil this way. Maybe find a better way to encrypt your traffic, because if your goal is to not get caught during your pen test, maybe setutil is a tool you should stay away from. Just letting you know. And this is the only this is what I can say you get to see on my channel than other YouTube channels out there, because people don't have time to show you this kind of stuff. But anyway, now that we have attacked and we got to see our traffic, I think we got in very well. So just as a quick recap, make sure to use these ref shells here. It does not make you less of an attacker if you use tools to make your life easier. Okay? And at the same time, it also makes your life easier. Make sure to enumerate properly and don't give up when things are not working. As you saw me today struggle with a machine that I made. So, all right, let me see. I'm just going to answer a few questions from you, then we can end this. It has been a while now. So 1Q, how do you company handle false positives, false negatives? You need to fine tune your Suricata rules. Don't load all the rules that come with Suricata. You need to go and look at the Suricata rules, fine tune them. Like you need to spend a lot of time baselining your detection rules. I think that's where a lot of intrusion detection systems get in the way. Baselining things. Fine tune your rules if you want to avoid a lot of false positives. Don't run intrusion detection systems with what comes with them. And that will really help you. That's a really good question. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so if you want to know, like some no BS, I don't come here and say, hey, I'm the expert, listen to me, I'll tell you what to do. I come here and I say, hey, you and I, we're learning this stuff. We have to brute force our way into these things and we will learn together. And that's the best way. So when I make mistakes, you get to see yourself make mistakes. If you want to watch experts, there are other people who are experts in this industry who will show you. Or if you want to watch somebody like you learn, you watch me. And that's how things work. And if you like that, make sure to subscribe. I don't ask for a lot. I don't make money out of YouTube. So if you subscribe, that shows YouTube that this stuff is actually worth something. And they keep recommending my stuff to other people. Then more people will come and join. Because I use the word hack or exploit in these videos, YouTube thinks that it's not good for families or people. So I don't make money out of this stuff. But I hope you can see that I get really excited. It's really fun stuff. Thank you. So I'm planning on making about 20 of these OSCP like machines. After 20, I think I'll stop. I want to make Windows machines. So the next week machine is not going to be a Windows 10 machine. I'll give you a hint right away. It's not a Windows 10 machine. It's still a Windows machine. It's just not Windows 10. And I'm doing that because I couldn't figure out how to disable set impersonate that privilege escalation. It took me too much time to fix without updating it. So I'm moving to a different version of Windows. It's not going to be Windows XP because nobody uses that. So next week there's going to be another fun machine. Since it's Halloween, I intend to throw people a little bit on that machine. But it's not going to be CTF, stuff like that. It's still going to be an interesting machine. So subscribe and watch the community channel. I'll be posting the next machine there. And I've already worked on it. It's almost ready. I just need to test it and make sure that you can exploit it. And it's supposed to be really fun. Yeah, VMware, I only make them in VirtualBox because everybody can download VirtualBox for free. If I make them in VMware, then I'm forcing people to either pay for VMware Workstation or Fusion, and that's not cool. I cannot promise that I'll make them in VMware at all, but you can always download VirtualBox, and it's easier. I cannot say your name, but man, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I'm here making a fool of myself for your own pleasure. So please tell your friends to come and watch somebody struggle, attack a machine, so that they know that hacking is not a walk in the park. It's trial and error, and sometimes you have to know what you're doing. And if you know what you're doing, then you can always try, of course, right? It says make size less large. I don't know how to do that with Windows systems. Windows is a minimum requirement for operating system to run. So 8 gigs, I think, or 7 gigs is what I can get. I'll try that, but I don't know if I can promise that there will be any smaller. Yeah. So I'll try my best to make sure that they're smaller, but I don't know. I'm in the business of making virtual machines that are vulnerable. I don't want to spend too much time trying to condense them or compress them. I create random Google accounts where they allow me to upload them. So I'll keep creating random accounts and uploading them to Google so people can download them. Until then, my goal is to make 20 of them. After 20, I'll probably stop. Then I'll start uploading them to Proving Grounds and try hack me so I can get paid. But I want to make 20 machines. Then I'll make a catalog of them on GitHub. Then people can always go there. I hope I don't accidentally make an exploit that is in the OffSec exams, because how am I supposed to know? I'm just picking exploits from the internet and I'm just finding vulnerabilities from the internet. So if I accidentally make one that is in the exam, I hope I don't get in trouble with OffSec, because I know they like ExploitDB, so I'll keep doing that. Somebody says Windows 95. Yeah, I should actually do that. Windows 95. It will throw somebody in for a loop. They will be trying to run PowerShell on that one. It will not work. Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody, for subscribing. And also, thanks for joining me. We've been here for a very long time, but I hope you learned something. And next week is Halloween stuff. So I'm going to try to do some Halloween-themed machine. But expect a machine by Thursday or Friday this week. And then I'll have a few people test it before I give it to you. Otherwise, thanks for joining, and I hope you have a good one.